the kind of negative tone of voice, and you say nothing, I think it's equatable at least with saying the same thing.
It's consent.
If you ignore sin, you become a partaker in that sin. Because if I know I'm a murder and I don't do the right thing, whatever that may be, I'm also an accomplice now, or even just morally.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Allowing people to mock. My only problem is that I believe that the vehement defence of Muhammad is shirk, in that if you leave Islam, you can be given a grace period of a few days. You can be, an imam can come and talk to you, make sure you're not committing whatever they do, like try and bring you back to the faith. Whereas if you slander Muhammad, you can be eligible for immediate retribution. Therefore, I would say that suggests, if not equality, some, like just in the hierarchy of retributional acts, I would say that that's a little bit, although I don't believe in apostasy punishment. I think that you should pray for people. If you genuinely think that you know the way to God and you have it in your heart, you must pray for the soul of anybody who leaves their long-held belief, because only God can change their heart. You can change their ears, you can talk them to death, maybe, but then you'll be hastening their way to hell because they might not be on the right path. So you've got to live. That's my problem with violence. And so in first instance, we're told to defend the hope that is within us, to destroy, another book talks about destroy all false arguments that set themselves up against the true nature of God. But it doesn't say, and then give them a slap, and then follow them home, and then, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just verbally, we tear down those false arguments.
We were speaking about earlier about Christianity and its values going down and all of this. Don't you think when it comes to pastors in this country, I'm not sure what type of Christian you are, but
the kind who believes Christ died for my sins.
No, but as in Pentecostal or Catholic or whatever.
The kind that I see.
Okay, so what I find amongst the clergy here is they will do everything possible, not all of them, but a lot of them, they'll do everything possible to try and shoehorn Christianity within a liberal framework. So for example,
religious councils and the merging.
There's like a disco church in London.
Don't worry about that. The Pope is talking about merging Christianity and Islam, and I'm not joking.
I never heard of that.
The resurrection either happened or it didn't. The crucifixion either happened or it didn't. There's no matrix.
And you have to be honest about it. Just because you want, like the Pope wants peace or whatever, you have to say.
He also considered gay priests and married priests in a certain.
I thought they were against that, aren't they?
He came down on the side of let's not. But even considered it because it's not part of the heritage of the Catholic Church. It's obviously a Reformation thing to have a married clergy.
So, Kate, what do you see in the next 100 years in terms of Europe? In terms of Christianity, do you think they're going to turn back to Christianity?
I would hope that if the tribulation doesn't start by then,
what do you mean by tribulation? I think tribulation started already. The breakdown of society.
No, because the rapture must happen, and the rapture.
The rapture.
Yes. So in Mark, I think it's Mark. He talks about the time of the coming of the Lord. So it says, watch for these signs that two people will be working in the field and one will be taken. Two people will be sleeping and one will be taken. So it's talking about the capturing up of people into heaven. Then it says that the dead in Christ will rise, the tribulation will happen.
So that's yeah. So look, that's eschatology, but why?
This is what I'm saying. So unless the end times manage to insert themselves in between this 100 years that we're talking about, I would pray.
Let's assume
everything continues as it is.
So because the way I see it is right now, society can't go on like this. So if you look at broken homes, on top of broken homes, you're seeing in society now this type of nihilism that Nietzsche spoke about. And eventually, like Douglas Murray argues, is that there has to be like faith or something has to be there. And the way I see it is that we need to start speaking about this more openly. Because when you look at politicians talk about economics. How do you make the state better or this? No one talks about, okay, why is it, and I have never seen a politician do this, why is it that children don't respect their parents? Or why is it that...
I would argue that very recently Trump, in his inauguration speech, he spoke about God, he spoke about...
But do you consider him a proper Christian though?
It's not my job to consider anybody. everybody a proper Christian. It's my job to consider people as sinners in need of salvation. If they claim that salvation, then that's God alone who knows that. So I believe that even if he is irrelevant, he mentioned God in his inauguration. He has come down on the side of pro-life. No president has ever attended a pro-life rally, for example. He's reintroduced praying in schools. So when you say no leaders, I mean, Boris Johnson's got an unmarried girlfriend at the moment, so we'll just like Boris him off a minute. But the fact is that it's like places in America, New York State has late-term abortion, which is basically a murder, like live chip, like at 9 months during childbirth. I could say, actually, no, I've changed my mind. And
You know, there's even an argument for after childbirth
well, that's what they're saying. They're saying in one of the southern states,
infanticide, yeah.
saying that, well, if the lady's really about to just give birth, we'll make the baby comfortable and then we'll have the tough decision, which is talking about literal murder.
Yeah.
And everybody's going, because they're so liberal that if I put a face while the guy's saying it, maybe I'm a hate speech monger and I'm like, so this nonsense about restricting speech. One of the American presidents of a long time ago, he said, I can lose all of my freedoms, but if I retain the freedom of speech, I can win them all back. So freedom of speech is paramount. It's the most important right a person can have, because obviously if you can't formulate an idea out loud, you don't even have the opportunity for someone to say, oh, you're an idiot. Like, you can't be challenged. And if a bad idea can be challenged, it can't be rooted out. And that's not to say that the government's job is to censor people's ideas. At the same time, like I said earlier, I don't think that a man can be sports. Like, with the anatomy still intact as well. Like, it's like the Emperor's New Clothes, and no one is willing to shout he's naked. Because
Wouldn't you-
assuming gender. That's not allowed.
Wouldn't you say, Kay, that before we get to these issues, it's all rooted in the idea that man or woman or whoever, humanity, we dictate everything for ourselves. So there is no idea of God. And that fundamentally, that's what I see the root problem is. Because when even, for example, we had feminists here, and then we had some people who were speaking out against radical feminism, no one was talking about faith. But fundamentally, that's the root cause for why some people go this way, some people go this way.
So I would suggest two things. One, that a holistic approach would include the kind of Hollywood-esque nonsense of follow your dream.
Just do it.
Just do it. All these
YOLO.
kind of slogans. Oh, you do only live once, but at the end of the day, there's an eternity waiting for you at the end. So don't squander what you've got. But also the idea of we're all self-sufficient. It's not true one bit. God is in control of us even when we hate Him, even when we have our backs turned to Him. We don't even believe in Him anymore. He still loves us enough to desire the best for us.
Christian or everybody?
Everybody. The Bible says, "For I know the plans I have for you," saith the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you. But when you're in rebellion against God, you're more open, obviously, to
Everything.
to everybody. It says that Satan is the God, small g, of this system.
Yeah.
So if we don't have God, if we're not for God, we're against Him. And that's kind of the bottom line. So society, I would suggest this society may pay lip service. We've got some bishops in Parliament. We've got a couple of guys.
The Queen is the head of the church.
Yeah,
And,
but Charles wants to be defender of the faith, not the faith. Now he wants to have a multi-faith. Nonsense. I don't know, but he's a divorcee, so he can't really start banging the drum for morals. I don't know. He's not actually a divorcee. He's married to a divorcee. He's a widow. So I don't know where to go. I think that you can't tackle one element of society without having a completely holistic approach.
No, and the holistic approach starts with faith.
It starts with children. It starts with a less left-wing education system that's promoting LGBT values to 6-year-olds.
But you know, before all of this, shouldn't we just go back to...
You
Okay.
can't force people to accept God.
No, I'm not saying force. I'm saying to have the discussion, which is... Because when I speak to some... Like I asked someone not too long ago here in Speaker's Corner, I said, if God gave you a command to do, would you do it? And the person said, if I agree with it. Do you see that?
I've had this conversation about First Samuel chapter 15. God said, kill all of the donkeys, women, children, babies.
I didn't mean that. What I meant is, okay.
God told me to do it, and I knew for sure that was God. I'm doing it. It's as simple as that.
Well, there's something I wanted to say about this, which is I didn't mean
That's why
well, say 1 second. So,
God, if
no, wait 1 second.
commands you to do something,
No.
you don't ask why.
That's why we call you.
Wait, hang on.
As
Wait.
Muslim, we say you guys are first.
Brother, I'm just in a conversation. Yeah.
That wasn't me. I'm a Christian.
You said I would do it.
Brother,
You would disobey God.
brother.
Well, then that's your problem.
Sorry, apologize for him. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. Because look,
Can I just ask if God told you to do something that you found a little bit like
okay. So let me.
yes or no?
Let me give you the Islamic answer. The Islamic answer is
Give me your answer, please.
no. I'm giving you the Islamic answer, which is we do whatever God tells us to do. However, we also have but we have this belief that God doesn't command evil. Yeah. So in our theology, we have this idea you do whatever God tells you to do, but we don't have this idea that God will tell you one day to just set off a nuclear bomb or something, right? That won't happen.
So Moses was for sure agreed between Islam and Christianity, a true prophet of God. If he tells Moses to do something and Moses disseminates that message to these instructions for this outcome, I can't see a problem with it.
No, of course not, because you know for sure it's Moses.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I knew for sure it's God speaking to me, and it wasn't a delusion, a satanic attack. If it wasn't medication, if I knew for 100% it's God. Who am I? Are you joking? I'm going to risk my eternity because that guy in a red jacket thinks I'm an idiot. Like, no. I'd rather be.
So I wanted to ask you, like, you were first not really towards faith, and then you turned towards Christianity.
I grew up in a Christian household, and I was a teenager.
Then you were a teenager.
This happened, yeah. And then I kind of came back, and then I came back more strongly within the last decade.
So what made you go on that journey as opposed to just do what everybody else does, which is...
Well, I've got, I had the kind of atheistic thing, I suppose, of ascribing...
Oh, you're an atheist before?
No.
Oh.
The atheistic thing of ascribing calamity to God.
Oh, right, yeah. Anything good is yourself. Yeah.
So I had trouble. Also, Islam for me, I had a thought one day that was so overpowering, and I thought, why would God damn a whole billion people, or however many it was at the time? And I got really upset. I was like, what if they've never heard of Jesus? I hadn't read the Quran at that point. I didn't know about Isa. I was just thinking, but what if they don't know? Like, I felt really sad for them, and then I decided, because obviously I know better than God at that time, at 15, I thought, well, I'm just not going to, I don't want to be in any club that's going to exclude everybody else.
Yeah, perennialism and stuff, yeah.
So that was what kind of led me more away from faith.
Right.
And then obviously I read, then I started studying theology, then I realised, it's odd because at times in your life there are hardships that you balance to the life and you intellectually work out what is God, like, why is this happening? And then obviously, but then oftentimes I look back and I think, oh, that's right. Like with hindsight, I can see what God's plan was. I can just see where I deviated from it, or I didn't, give God any glory for any of the good things. So in answer to your question,
so you looked into...
no threat of apostasy if I left and came back.
So if you had the choice of coming back to faith, and you chose Christianity. You were led. Okay, so my question is, why would you go towards, say, Christianity and not another religion?
Because of the study of theology, I've looked into Judaism, I've looked into Islam, and I already knew Christianity, and I just, my gut feeling is that the triune nature of God is correct, that Jesus Christ is God. He said so, his disciples said so, 500 people saw him rise from the dead, or not rise, risen from the dead. The historical evidence is, I looked at the Islamic polemics against Christianity, I found them not compelling enough to shake my faith once I'd reclaimed my faith. I have a friend, and he's a Muslim friend for many years. We've been debating backwards and forwards. And at that time I kept thinking, why am I arguing with this person? What is God? Why? And then I came to speak this Quran, and I was like, oh, of course, because this just seemed very easy compared to the heated discussions with one person. So God made himself clear, he revealed himself to me in a way that is inimitable. I knew it can't, for sure isn't Satan, like problems, intellect, like I know it's God. And like I said to Shamsi, like I said to that guy, if God tells me
You do it.
what to do. Yeah, I didn't necessarily want to come to Speaker's Corner, but I saw a video, someone calling for strong Christians, and Satan immediately said that that's you're not a strong enough Christian, you're not a good enough debater, you're not this, you're not that. So I just continued to pray about it, and then a set of circumstances occurred where I would have backed myself into a corner if I didn't come.
Sure. So if I was to ask you, hypothetically, forget all the polemics that Islam has against Christianity, Christianity against Islam. If Jesus said to you that you should believe in the Prophet Muhammad, would you believe in the Prophet Muhammad?
I would ask Jesus what about his warnings of a false prophet. I would ask Jesus what about Luke 16:16 that tells me up until now is the law and the prophets and then the kingdom. I would ask why is John no longer the last and final prophet. I would ask him what you're talking about in a very polite way.
But didn't you say earlier, if God tells you to do something, you
Yes,
just do it? I mean, I don't believe Jesus to be God, but
God doesn't change his mind.
Sure.
So that's my other, let me finish,
Sure.
sorry.
Sorry.
That's my other issue with Islam. So God clearly says no divorce apart from adultery. One man, one woman become one flesh. And then 600 years, or not actually, a couple of thousand years after that, God's now allegedly saying, oh, do you know what, here's a whole chapter of Talaq, and these are the ways, and this is the waiting time, and this is who and how and when. And oh, by the way, you can have 4 wives. So I believe my God is eternal. From the first to the last, he is, he was, he always will be, of one mind, of one purpose.
what if Jesus gave you a compelling answer to those questions by saying the Bible was changed? Say Jesus said these things, because in our eschatology, as you probably know, we do believe Jesus. Yeah, we believe Jesus will come down in Syria. Right?
What's he got against Jesus?
Who?
Esau. He's going to come and smash us all and kill all the kids. Did I make that up? Is that
No.
right?
So Isa is Jesus.
I don't believe so. But
You believe they're different? Why?
because the life of Christ, Yeshua, is so very well documented in the New Testament. Nobody said, oh, by the way, he's speaking from the cradle. I think that would have been like quite a big...
There were some early Christian sects which believed
It
that.
may have been. They didn't make it into the final cut, as it were, so I'd have to research them. But
Have you looked at the...
New Testament.
Sure.
I've looked at the Gnostic Gospels, I've looked at the Apocrypha.
Oh, wow.
I've looked at theology. It's my thing. So I've looked extensively. I don't believe...
So do you know about the early Christians who didn't believe Jesus was God?
The other thing I noticed is that Isa made a clay bird and breathed life by the permission
And
of
some early Christians believed that.
I believe that Isa may have done it. I don't believe Jesus. So let me just answer this. So by permission of Allah doesn't mean with Allah's power. It just means, so it means hypothetically I'm Isa. Allah said okay, kind of thing. But now I can do it against his permission, theoretically. So I'm a creator.
But that's not our theology though.
Allah says he is the best of creators. Therefore, leaving the door open for other creators. Christ created that life within the bird. Isa, created life by permission, not by the power. Whereas Jesus Christ foretold in John 1, he's the creator of all things. He says John is specific. He says nothing was created.
But we believe that too.
You believe that Jesus Christ is Allah.
No.
Jesus Christ, John says, is the creator of all things.
Okay. Let's trace back a few steps.
Created that was not created by or through him because he is the
True
Word
God.
of God. No, through Christ, because he's the Word. So through or by. So God said that there's light. When he said it, that's Christ, Word of God. So John says through or by.
So I want to go back a few steps to what I was going to ask about you earlier. So look, theology, right? So those early Christian sects that believed what we believe today as Muslims, that Jesus didn't die on the cross, that Jesus was not God, and that he's a messenger of God. Why would you accept today's triune over that? Okay,
because they're not Christians, because they're not Christ-like, because they're not taking Christ's own words. When he says to Peter, who do the people say I am? And Peter answers him. And then he says, who do you say I am? And Peter says, I say you are the Christ, the Son of God. And Christ says to him, that answer didn't come from people, that came from God. Therefore it must be correct.
But do you know what their answer is? Do you know what their answer is? They didn't consider the Bible that we have today as their authority.
They must have had their own scripture.
Yeah, they did.
I don't accept that scripture.
Yeah, sure. But when you accept the New Testament, if you look at the way the New Testament was put together,
this to you. The Qurans that were burned in the time of Uthman, the third caliph, why don't you believe those recitations? Because you don't have them.
No, that's not.
You don't have them. So you're telling me about some scriptures and some early Christians. I don't have those scriptures. I wouldn't believe them over I'm not sola scriptura, but I don't believe other versions.
Look, there's a long answer and a short answer.
You see my point? A Quran that you've never read, you can't.
Look, if I was to hypothetically accept your argument, it would.
You can accept it and then call it hypothetical.
No, okay.
You don't hypothetically.
No. Well, what I mean is, look, even if what you're saying is right, you're just undermining the Quran and the Bible. You're not actually making an argument which is what I'm challenging, which is that why the Bible as we have it today, why would you take that and not the Bibles of, say, the early Christian sects who believe what I believe?
I don't see. I've read the early church fathers. I've read the letters in there.
Like Paul and...
Yeah. So I've read those. So even without the New Testament of today, I can recreate to some extent the feelings, the beliefs, the traditions, even though they were very early traditions, the feeling among the early Christians at that time, whereby I would suggest to you now, going back to what we were talking about a moment ago, that Muslims cannot do that because of Uthman. Because those early recitations were negated completely by fire, I would suggest unless he secretly kept some and nobody's declaring them yet, you can't even consider what may have been recited in error or just against what Uthman felt was proper. So therefore, the early scriptures of so-called Christian sects can't be compared to my Bible, because my Bible has been pored over by Islamic, Christian, atheist, Jewish scholars, has been deemed to be in parts, the translation may, obviously we've got the NIV, the NASB, the KJV, the new KJV, the da-da-da-da-da.
No.
So it's not a thing of like the Arabic, where I can still find discrepancies between two different versions of the Quran. But I would suggest that my Bible has been thoroughly vetted, and I know that the Holy Spirit moves in me when I read those books. So if you could produce for me a scripture from these early so-called Christians who didn't believe that Jesus was crucified, so they're not Christian, that Jesus was only a prophet, so they're not Christian, that in my humble opinion, they're not Christian, they're not Christ-like, because Christ himself said, I am God.
Sure. So, Kate, they would say you're not Christian.
Good luck to them. They're already dead. They're waiting for judgment.
Well, for example, Isaac Newton, like even though he's not part of the early Christians, using even the Bible as we have it today, he came to the conclusion Jesus could not be the Son of God.
Why do I care what Isaac Newton? No, seriously.
No. What I'm trying to get to is that you made an inference.
Yep.
He made an inference.
Get back to Uthman for me, please.
We can do that, but what I'm trying.
I'd like to do that now, because you've deflected from.
No, because we were talking about the early Christian,
early scripture.
the early.
So Uthman had earlier recitations of the Quran. He felt threatened or so inclined by these other recitations.
But the thing is, look,
he had them destroyed, not put away in a vault somewhere, not had Islamic scholars come along and say, oh, clearly this is absolutely wrong, Muhammad.
But Kay, if you remember our conversation, we were talking about why you choose triune Christianity over monotheistic Christianity.
1 John 5:7. So the Holy Spirit that's in me, that I've prayed about, it has been revealed to me. Through the scripture also, I can find numerous instances of the triunity of God, the Godhead that the Apostle Paul, who is highly valued in Islam, as you know, spoke of. Paul. He's told, he's not...
But you're not Saint Paul you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
But Saint Paul, did he ever meet Jesus?
Yeah, he saw him in a vision.
But he never met him.
But John did, Mark did, Matthew did.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get to, Kay, is that when
James was the brother.
look, what I'm trying to get to is, look,
I'm trying to get to that I shouldn't believe in a triune God, and I'm telling you I do. And now I'm giving you my evidence for it. So there's scripture, there's the Holy Spirit, there's the power of the triune God in me, there's my recognition of the aesthetics of it, the way that it fits in with my scripture. Even without the scripture, completely disregarding scripture, just my own experience of God, my prayers, the evidences, the occurrences that have happened to me show me that Christ is God, and yet the Father is God, and yet the Holy Spirit that moves in me is God, and therefore I'm forced into a corner to accept the triune nature of God. I can't accept that to lie to the Spirit is not to lie to man, to lie to God. I can't accept that, and to accept that the Father that is the God spoken of in John 3:17. I can't also accept that Christ says I am. When they're persecuting him, they say, "Are you the Christ?" He says, "I am," which is the name of God, Yahweh. And those are the reasons, apart from the Holy Spirit, that I believe in the triune nature of God. I can't do anything else. I'm trying to be atheist.
No, I don't want you to do that.
No, I don't. I know you.
I would not at all argue for that. But what I'm trying to give you the picture of is that you have a paradigm. Everything you described to me is one paradigm. But another early Christian sect, it would have a different paradigm. And if they were to be here alive today, they would give you the same exact argument you're giving, but from their perspective.
And I may pop over and have a coffee while I was talking to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because they are named as Christians doesn't mean just because they're early doesn't mean anything. Just because they're so-called Christians doesn't mean anything. I've got Catholics or Jehovah's Witnesses who can claim some form of Christianity, which I reject wholeheartedly, and I have them talking to me only because I'm waiting for the bus regularly. And they're trying to tell me also that God has revealed this to them. So in the final analysis, eternity will come down to Judgment Day. And to answer your very earlier question, in 100 years, I would hope that we've had a revolution, not in terms of arms and fighting, but as in a coming of full circle into a place where this country is in a non-Islamic, non-Judaic, non-Mormon, non-Jehovah's Witness, in a trans-British Church of England, if you like Protestant Reformation version of God. I don't mind it.
Why not early Christian, Nestorian type?
I don't believe them to be Christian. I don't believe anybody who professes that Christ is merely immortal and is not 100% God and 100% man is a Christian.
But then, but then you'd be arguing against history. Because
I'm not arguing against God, though.
No.
More to the point.
As in your argument to a early Christian, they would simply respond.
In 100 years, sorry, I've got to. In 100 years, someone says, you know that conversation with Saboor and Kay at the park? You would be arguing against the girl in the woolly hat who wants the coffee. You would be arguing against the guy with a beard who talks to atheists all the time, and they'd go, and you'd be arguing with history. So what? Why do these people know more than I do? I've got the Holy Spirit. If they had the Holy Spirit, they misinterpret.
Okay, but that's an argument that you're making, and
it's an argument I just made.
And they would simply respond.
How do you know? Are you channeling?
No, because I studied early Christianity, so I'm giving you their beliefs.
You speak for them. You just said they would say.
Because I know their beliefs. Because just like
solely, Jesus was only a prophet.
Yes,
They sound a bit Muslim to me.
And that's why we believe they were Muslim.
So they're not early Christians. So what are we chatting about?
No, as in they were followers of Christ. The early followers of Christ.
What year are we talking?
You're talking
Second century?
first century. And look, I don't want to get into a big discussion about this, but you will find Christian historians speaking about these groups, and it's hard to basically argue they're not Christian, because they are Christian.
Like I said before, if they believe that Christ is merely a prophet, only in no way divine, by for sure 100% modern standards, they are not Christian. If at the time, within the first century, so the New Testament wasn't even, the Gospel of Matthew or Mark, I forget which one, wasn't even completed until 1895. So the first century Christians had a window of 65 years in which to get together, some sort of tradition, some church. The early church was well established by this, and I know this because the early church fathers wrote to each other not to give each other ideas of what to do. They were writing.
But they spoke about the other Christians as well. They spoke about the heretics.
They were writing to people who already held their beliefs, who already practiced their tradition.
And they also acknowledged there's other Christians who did not accept that.
Titus 3 speaks about heresy.
But you guys are heretics for them.
Finish. In the New Testament, we are already told that within this first 1 century, maybe up to like 150 years, we're already told how to deal with heresy. And heresy is not belief in falsity. Heresy is something that is not accepted by the doctrine of the church. So the majority church,
your church,
the majority church. It wasn't my church. My church is a Reformed Protestant church. But what I am saying to you,
can I get a word in? Just one small thing.
I'm so sorry. No, I've got to finish because honestly, the caffeine levels are down. Right, so it's against dogma. Heresy.
Sure.
You can't have a Muslim heretic for a Christian. We had this thing here 6 months ago where a guy was being told he's not a Christian.
Right.
And my stand remains that if someone confesses Christ, believes in their heart, they are as Christian as anybody.
What if they believe him to be a messenger?
I just said confesses Christ as Lord. Sorry, I didn't finish the sentence.
Right.
As Lord. So you can't be a heretic. You can only, if you're a Christian, you can fall into heresy from the dogma of the church. But you can't be a Jewish or Muslim or Hebrew Israelite.
I'd just like to.
So I would say those people, I would rebuke them twice,
That's fine.
as I'm told, dust off my sandals and go and get
no problem. Just wanted to give you one small reference, just because we're both learning.
Yep.
Dr. Gerald Dirks, Gerald Dirks. He has this lecture online called Early Trajectories of Christianity. I just recommend you watch it.
I would. Trust him.
Because we're going to get into another discussion. But I just, no, but he's a Christian who became a Muslim, and he speaks about the early.
So he's impartial, non-biased, completely down the middle.
No, but remember, look, you have to look at why he argues the early Christians were on the right truth. And I wanted to end upon just something we can both learn about.
Check it on the elbow.
We don't touch. We don't.
Anyway.
Thank you. You want to what? Sorry. So it's sorry. One side just early Christianity, because early Christianity is misunderstood. Early Christians, many of them,